So why do we care about nutrition? Nutrition is really important for your health. It can prevent cancer, it can prevent heart disease, you can not have diabetes, which would make you feel terrible. So that's what I really like to focus on, is how you feel. Making sure that you feel healthy, you have energy, your mind is clear, you're happier. Mood is actually affected by nutrition. So there's a lot of things affected by nutrition that maybe you wouldn't have thought of, and maybe this is a reason why you'd want to learn about nutrition. So a lot of people think of diet as being a diet. You go on a diet, you're trying to lose weight, you're either on, say, the Atkins diet or the keto diet, and you're restricting your food intake based on some prescribed diet. But that's not what people in nutrition think of when they think of diet. It is the diet, what you eat, what you choose to eat because you enjoy it, what's culturally appropriate because it's what you have at celebrations or your family makes every Sunday, and what gives you nourishment. So we like to get rid of the negative connotation of what a diet is. We also don't like the idea of dieting because that's not healthy. You need to have a healthy relationship with food, and nutrition is just part of your life. It's not something that you do periodically. When we think about nutrition, you probably think about the nutrition facts label, what you see on the package of food that you buy at the grocery store. And that is part of nutrition. It has key components like micronutrients, which are the vitamins and minerals. And this is actually how nutrition was founded. When we discovered vitamins and minerals being so important for our body, we realized that it was important to have a whole field dedicated to it. But beyond those, we have macronutrients, which is probably what you know as fat, carbs, and protein. And these are the building blocks of your body, but also the fuel for your body. And you can't really do anything without them. The same is true of the vitamins and minerals. They're really important for the function of your body. So once you've built up your body and given the energy that you need with the macronutrients, the micronutrients come in and make sure you're functioning properly. Another component of the body is what we call non-nutritive bioactive components, and that's kind of a fancy term, but essentially it's all the other stuff in your food. So it's not a vitamin, it's not a mineral, it's not fat, protein, or carbohydrates. And what that mostly is things like polyphenols or phytonutrients, which are just fancy words for different plant chemicals. You probably have heard of resveratrol. It's found in red wine. It's a great excuse people use to drink more red wine. But as with anything, too much is not good. Too little is probably also not good. So we wouldn't necessarily prescribe that. Now, this is the type of thing you would learn about in nutrition. You learn about polyphenols like resveratrol. Another really important non-nutritive bioactive component is fiber. And you've probably heard about the importance of fiber for your gut health and your gut microbiome. And most people are not getting enough fiber. And how can you get that in your diet? Well, that's something we can talk about in our nutrition course. While everyone has their pet nutrient in nutrition, there are actually some that are more important than others. They're called the essential nutrients, and they're ones that your body cannot create on its own. The vitamins and minerals fall into this category, but so do some proteins and some fats. You've probably heard of omega-3 fatty acids, which can be found in fatty fish or in some algae, and it's absolutely essential for you to get it from your diet because your body cannot produce it on its own. In terms of protein, we have what's called amino acids, which are parts of the protein. So different amino acids form chains, and that's how proteins are formed. One of them that's considered essential is tryptophan. And if you don't have tryptophan in your diet, you will not be able to produce it, and thus you will be deficient in tryptophan, and you could have certain symptoms from that. Luckily, most of these amino acids are found in many, many different foods. So as long as you have a varied diet, you don't really need to worry about deficiency in protein. Nutrition is a relatively young field, and it's really interesting to watch it grow since it was founded in the early 1900s. And what we've seen is we've moved from a field looking at deficiency, where people had just a very large lack of nutrition in their life, mostly because they weren't getting enough food in general. And we found things like scurvy with pirates, where they didn't have any vitamin C in their diet for many, many months. And that is very important, and we need to be aware of these things, but it's very unusual to see things like scurvy in today's world. That's not the type of nutrition we have today. What we've moved away from is this frank deficiency into what we're calling optimal health. So we're trying to get you to the best level that you can. And that's a little bit more difficult to study. It's not as clear whether you have the most vitamin C that you need or not too much vitamin C. But what is really interesting is that now we can focus on health and wellness instead of just disease. And I think that's why nutrition is becoming more interesting to the average person. And I hope that this course will be able to teach you about that and you'll be able to optimize your own health.